Okay, let's see if this thing is recording this time. Okay, perfect, it is. Hold on a second. Okay, it doesn't record this. Cool. So guys, sorry about that. But today I'm going to give you 3 replays of this team that I have just built for the Sun series, which I actually really enjoy. It consists of the same core Pokemon that I was using last time. This time adding in a Assault-Vest Ludicolo and a Choice Scarf Gengar. So, you already know what the Veltal, Kyogre, Tapu Lele, and Ferrothorn do, but you don't necessarily know what the Ludicolo does. Well, it does Ludicolo things. It is there to be a Fake Out user early game, especially if my opponent doesn't have a Tapu Lele. It gives me the advantage there to then just fire off an Origin Pulse with my Kyogre. It also gives me the advantage of just say Scalding and clicking Grass Knot versus stuff like opposing Kyogre, as well as Groudon, which can be a big deal in a lot of cases. And then Choice Scarf Gengar can do a lot of things. The biggest thing to me that I've personally found is that, and we'll just kind of see this in this first game here, but Choice Scarf Gengar, if you look at this team, Groudon doesn't appreciate getting tricked. Xerneas does not want to get tricked. Bronzong doesn't want to get tricked. It does a whole lot of things in that regard. And the other nice thing too is, Sludge Bomb, I believe Oko will actually, you know what, we'll calc this right now. We'll do this. We'll do it right now. I believe it should Koko uninvested. Gengar, make this regular, cool, yeah. If it's AV bulky, I don't think it will, but that's not what I'm looking for. Assault Vest, yeah. If it's like just in general Assault Vest, it won't, but nonetheless, it could be worse. So, looking at my opponent's team versus mine, it's really scary because of that Groudon, which I know is going to be min speed because of the Bronzong next to it, along with that Smeargle. So, if I remember, I lead with my Gengar and bring my Ludicolo in this game as a lead, just because, well, it makes sense to me to bring it. I also have Kyogre in the back along with, I believe I had Ferrothorn. So let's just check it out. I do lead Gengar Ludi, which is really good for me in the sense that, looking at this here, what my original plan was to do was just click Sludge Bomb and go for a Fake Out. Because if this thing is Choice Scarf Tapu Koko, like I'm assuming it is, because Assault Vest would make more sense on the Incineroar. Just because I don't think it would be Barry on this type of team, as well as since he doesn't need the Electro Web speed control just because he's got Trick Room, and my team's relatively quick. I basically decided that, you know what, I'm gonna make the hard play, go to Ferrothorn, and I believe just click or get faked out as I try and go for a Fake Out of my own. But he does Volt Switch, which does a decent chunk, telling me that he's 100% that specific set. Now, going into this turn, looking at my Ferrothorn, and then looking at him right now, I'm thinking, okay, he brought in his Groudon. It makes sense for me to bring in my Kyogre because I get the rain. I can obviously just click Scald. So that's exactly what I'm going to do as he switches out his Smeargle into his Tapu Koko, which I'm fine with. This does a whole lot of damage, and he clicks Fire Punch. I mean, solid. Like, it's a decent play on my opponent's part in the sense that, like, if I leave my Ferrothorn in, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, like, I have it for free, but nonetheless, he clicks Fire Punch, it's whatever, he gets in his Koko. So now he's going to bring in his Bronzong. As I go for Protect, as he goes for a Thunder, telling me that he's 100% Choice Scarf. I get off a lot of damage onto the Coco with the Scald, and I'm going to switch out into my Ferrothorn as he sets up a Trick Room as Ice Beam. Now, the reason why Ice Beam there is specifically in case Groudon switches in. I don't want Scald to be doing 0 damage to this thing. I want at least to kill the Groudon, so I can at least have weather control for the rest of the game. He sets up Trick Room, but really, this isn't bad for me, like, at all, because what I'm going to end up being able to do, switch my Ludicolo for my Kyogre, because, well, 1, it makes sense. 2, he makes the wrong play in protecting. I'm going for Leech Seed 100%, because I can beat this Bronzong 1v1 with that up. Right, because now, he's in here, can't really do anything. I land the Leech Seed. He lands Hypnosis, unfortunately, but I'm going to win the Weather War long term, because think about it. Oh no, he goes into Groudon. I can sack my Ludicolo here. He's not going to click Fire Punch. I kind of had a feeling he wouldn't. He gets the double turn to sleep, Gyro Balls into my Ludicolo, which is fine. He clicks Fire Punch, doesn't matter, because really at this point, Trick Room's gone. I get to bring up my Kyogre because Gravity's up, and I'm going to win this game. Very convincingly, in my opinion. I don't agree with some of the plays my opponent made. Just saying. And I'll tell you why. It really revolves around his thought process. Like, I get that, you know, he may not be a high rating, much like myself. I'm not a high rating by any stretch, but nonetheless, the fact of the matter is, I feel like you shouldn't sack your Smeargle because, or not even that, but protecting with your Groudon as my Ferrothorn's in, I mean, sure, I can Power Whip, but I feel like my plan is always going to be to beat your Bronzong. Because if I can't beat your Bronzong, because, like, while I do have Scarf Gengar in the back that can 100% beat you, but that's not the point. The point is, if you're going to sack anything, it probably should have been your Groudon. Because, you know, all my Kyogre really has to rely on is Origin Pulse. Ice Beam's never going to do enough to beat Bronzong, as well as the fact that you can just Hypnosis me to death anyways, but nonetheless, I feel like my opponent could have played this much better. I mean, I get it. My team, like with Gengar, is kind of threatening just because you don't necessarily know it's Scarfed. It could easily be sashed on this type of team, like 100%. But I still feel like if I'm my opponent, I'm 100% not going to be relying, or I'm going to 100% rely on my Bronzong to be doing a lot more than it did. But nonetheless, GG to my opponent. Moving on to replay number 2. This isn't going to be the same, is it? No, it's not. That's unfortunate. Alright, let me just quick fix this. I think that should be better. Yeah, it's a lot better. Okay, so moving on to replay number 2. Going against a Reindeer Squad, aka Kyogre Xerneas. Oh, my coffee's disgusting now. How long has this been, by the way? 8 minutes, okay. But looking at this team, I'm really scared because I've not played Kartana in my practice. This Coco does kind of look AV to me because there doesn't really seem to be a reason for it to be Scarfed along with Kyogre. But let's just get into it. I decided that I want to lead Gengar Ludicolo again, just in case he wants to lead with his Kyogre. And so here, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna fake out to Coco in case he thinks that I'm gonna attack the Amoonguss and go for a Sludge Bomb. First turn. He sees that my Gengar goes first, so it's 100% choice card. So I'm gonna switch out my Ferrothorn on the Rage Powder. He Volt Switches. It's a fine play. He goes out into his Incineroar. As I click Ice Beam, it puts him in berry range, which is super frustrating there. But nonetheless, he switches out into his Tapu Koko. I switch out into my Kyogre. Now, I'm going to go for the Rain Boosted Skull. It is my best play by far, and it also lets me know if he's Barry or not, which he is, and he actually just goes for the play of Flare Blitzing. I mean, I totally understand why he would make that play. It's a fine play to make, in case I stay in, but I feel like it's a little risky. Versus say you could knock off that slot, right? You know, you get, like, I could have just lost my Kyogre there and lost the game immediately. But I'm gonna go for a Scald, do a decent chunk to the Amoonguss as he clicks Electro Web, basically confirming to me that he is 110% Assault Vested. His Origin Pulse is basically gonna prove my point, doing 52%. As I go for the Protect, as he gets a crit on my Ludicolo, which is unfortunate, but nonetheless not exactly that big a deal. As I get the Ice Beam off, he tries to Spore my Kyogre in Electric Terrain, which, I mean, doesn't make much sense, but you know what, it is whatever. And after that, I'm like, okay, he's basically got to Fake Out and possibly attack my Ludicolo. So I'm like, okay, I'll bring up my Ferrothorn, Rain's still up, it's fine. As he fakes out, which is perfect, I go for the Origin Pulse, it hits the Incineroar, and it misses the Amoonguss. Now this is where the game starts to go a little bit off track, because he brings out his Coco, which is fine. And he brings out his Xerneas, which is fine. He's gonna Volt Switch, get another crit, not kill me though, brings me to my Berry range, brings out his Amoonguss. He's gonna take this Gyro Ball relatively well. Goes back up into his Coco, he protects his Xerneas. I'm still asleep. Gyro Ball into Xerneas just to be safe. I got my Protect off here, which is important because if he were to, say, attack me, my Kyogre's still alive and I still have my Rain option in the back that's still relatively good. He goes for his Geomancy. Now, here's the play that really cost my opponent the game. He protected. Skydrop crits me again, but nonetheless, it really doesn't matter. Origin Pulse is going to kill it. Now, again, my opponent makes a horrible play here. Not only did he protect here, he brings out his Amoonguss. Why protect your Xerneas the previous turn when Rage Powder is not going to affect my Ferrothorn? Goodbye Xerneas, and he is going to run away from this game. If my opponent made a different play, which was not protecting his Xerneas, I think he has a much better chance to win. I mean, he didn't exactly have a choice, don't get me wrong, but if he at least tried to go for the double, it could have potentially ended very differently for him. Again, GG to my opponent, but I think that's just the threat that Ferrothorn has against a team like this, where Coco can't touch it, Kyogre can't really hurt it, Xerneas can't really hurt it. And while Amoonguss and Ferrothorn can't really hurt each other, it still does a whole lot, and that's what Ludicolo can do too. And this is why I really like this team, and I'll get into more of like why as I go through my closing remarks and whatnot. But like, as you can see in this next game, it's a scary matchup because of the Gastrodon and the Ferrothorn of its own, right? But again, I have Gengar, I can Trick, I can do a whole lot of very cool things. So I decided that I'm just gonna lead Gengar Ludicolo right out the gate. I'm like, all right, whatever. I'm just gonna go for the Origin Pulse plus the Scald here. And I noticed that he's Psychic Seed Ho-Oh, which is super cool. I basically look and go, you know what? If he decides to do that, it's not a big deal. Origin Pulse still does about 50%, which is amazing for me as he goes for a Toxic. Here I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make the safe play, just Grass Knot and Origin Pulse again, because at least get some damage off on him as he goes for another Toxic, which is fine by me. Now, knowing that this thing can't have regen, if he decides to switch out for whatever reason and save this as a sack, I really don't care. So I get up my Yveltal for free, which is amazing. He goes up to his Gastrodon. I just say, I'm just gonna O-Pulse again. I have no reason to not do that. Gets a Power Whip off, doesn't kill my Kyogre, get my Berry, and I'm gonna take more poison damage. So, Ferrothorn comes out here. I am going to knock off the Ferrothorn. Now, the reason why I do this is because it is the best play for me to do in this scenario. because I don't want this thing getting health back unless it's through Leech Seed recovery, because if it's gonna get any of that, it could put me in a very bad position for the rest of the game, knowing that my Kyogre's poisoned. He's got this Gastrodon here. It could be very threatening. Now he goes for a Scald. Thankfully he doesn't get a burn. He decides to Power Whip into my Ferrothorn slot, which is fine because I had Kyogre there to begin with. So here I click Roost just as like a, hey, in case my Ferrothorn was somehow faster, I don't know, I get the Power Whip off, which is gonna 100% kill it. Now, this is where the game starts to get a little weird to me. He brings out his Lele. And I'm like, okay. He HP fired. Now, this was the weird part. He lets me kill his Ferrothorn. I feel like, and I guess that my opponent just kind of had to play on the assumption that he could beat me from there. But I get to go to my Kyogre. He HP fires, and I could tell immediately. I get to kill the Ho-Oh, and at this point, he can't beat me. He can't. Just because I have Ferrothorn in the back. HP fire is gonna do. What's my spread again? Max 84. Let's actually check, guys. Let's see how much that HP fire would have done. I better be fucking recording too. Okay, good. Let's see. Blank 284. We'll just see actually, because, and we'll just go to Tapu Lele, default with HP fire. Yeah, even outside of rain, it wouldn't have done much. In rain, that does, I'm assuming, less. Yeah, does nothing. And then Gyro Ball would proceed to get. I would have gotten close to the KO. Oh yeah, 0 speed. That's why. Yeah, it definitely got the KO. But yeah, I think in this last game though, it really came down to how my opponent played. I don't know how to explain it, but I get his thought process, I think, but if I'm my opponent, like, I don't like Shedinja in this game. I think that if you were to bring anything, I think it should be Xerneas, because at least with like a toxic Ho-Oh, you're at least whittling things down to where, you know, Xerneas can potentially win. I guess on the other hand though, like, Ferrothorn's always gonna beat it 1v1, but I don't know. I think that my opponent could have played a little better in this game, like, honestly, just because this is just a game that could have easily been won by my opponent. He made a very solid play going like first turn into Gastrodon, which is something I could have read 100% and killed it, and then probably proceeded to kill the the Ho-Oh. But I think it just came down to the fact that I had the tools to beat his Ferrothorn, and if I had brought Gengar, there would have been even stronger than that. But I had the tools, which I think was super important. On top of that, I just feel that based on my opponent's like team comp, Rain just destroys them. But nonetheless, this is the new version of the team. I happen to really like it, and I'm just gonna fix this for you guys here a little bit. I know you guys will see this on the screen and everything, so hopefully this looks a little better. Yeah, it looks a little better. So that's pretty much the team. I like it. I'm gonna keep playing with it and testing with it because, you know, I enjoy it. This is version 1.2. Because I want to see how it will perform versus stuff like Reshiram, stuff like more Groudon, especially because I've only played one with the new version. But again, let me know what you guys think about my team. I personally really enjoy it. I think that it does a whole lot more than I was expecting, honestly, with this Gengar. Because it can be a huge threat, like, right out the gate. I like the Ludicolo addition. I mean, I don't like it because it's just rain, but but it is a very, very, very fun adjustment to the team that I'm really, really liking as of right now. But guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Leave a like if you did enjoy, and subscribe if you want to see more Pokemon content in the future. But with that being said, guys, I'm gonna get the hell out of here for today. I'll catch y'all later. Peace out, guys.